Straight ahead, they got themselves into a dicey situation. We'll show you the rescue that freed these youngsters from a precarious perch on the Hudson. It's the week to shop in New York State. We'll take a look at the upcoming tax-free week. And a warning tonight for residents in the town of Rotterdam. It's all straight ahead on Channel 6 News.
Now, the #1 news station in the capital region. This is Channel 6 News at 6:30.
Good evening. A dramatic rescue above the Hudson River today as 3 children found themselves trapped after playing on the underside of a bridge. Fire officials tell us the trio made their way out onto the abutment of Fenimore Bridge in Hudson Falls when one of them got himself stuck there. Volunteer fireman Brian Downs had to be lowered over the side to lower the frightened youngster down to safety on an island below, where his 2 companions had already been stranded. Then all 3 were taken back across the river by boat. After the rescue, Downs said for any other kids who would consider playing on a bridge like this, the message should be clear.
Don't ever try it. It's too dangerous. There's way too much swift currents in there.
So far, the names of the 3 children involved have not been released, but police tell us they came away unharmed, if perhaps a bit shaken by that experience. Well, you've got a chance to save a couple of dollars next week. Starting on Wednesday in most parts of New York, you won't have to pay tax on some clothes and some shoes. Tom Langford's here now to tell us more about that.
Mary Beth, tax-free weeks are a 3-year tradition that are set to become permanent in March. Now, some people don't like the tax break, but most say it helps out. If clothing prices have you spinning, savings are in store just in time for back to school. For 1 week, starting Wednesday, in most parts of New York, you won't have to pay tax on clothes and shoes that cost less than $500.
7% of you're going to spend $200 or $300, $400. That's a lot of money. So yeah, it means quite a savings.
Sure beats going to another state like Massachusetts to do your shopping. And that's what we do once in a while.
The Wachowski family spent part of the day at the mall, but they're not buying much yet.
Right now we're waiting for the clothing for next week, but we're just getting the accessories right now for back to school.
It's a fairly significant savings and it helps us out.
Gladys Bates just finished her back to school shopping.
I would have waited. If I had known earlier, I would have waited and done it all then. She could have got more and it would have cost me less probably.
But some shoppers don't want to wait. They feel they saved more with back-to-school sales going on this week. And others don't like tax-free weeks at all, saying eventually the state will have to make up the lost money.
The money's going to come from somewhere that, I feel they're going to have to replace it with something else, so I'd rather not see the tax on clothes go. I'd rather just keep it as it is.
That probably will not happen. New York plans to permanently make the tax-free weeks permanent next March. Mary Beth?
It's interesting that some people thought they did better with sales this week than perhaps waiting for the tax-free situation next week.
Some people did. There were a lot of good sales out there, I guess, this week.
Which may end by the end of the week. Thanks, Tom. Well, not all cities and counties are taking part in the back-to-school tax-free week. In Glens Falls, you'll still have to pay the 1.5% local tax on clothes and shoes. And in Schoharie County, you'll have to pay the 3% county tax. All other parts of the capital region plan to completely waive their taxes on the back-to-school items and more. A warning about your water if you're on the Rotterdam system. Workers there are trying to fix a major sewer pipe break. A small landslide last night broke the main line for the town and sent raw sewage spilling into a ravine. To make things worse, as workers tried to fix the break this morning, a second landslide took out another section of pipe. So if you're on the Rotterdam City sewer system, you're asked to only use inside water if it's absolutely necessary.
The least amount of water that we have being discharged through the open line, it's just better all around for the environment. And also, if we pump any water, it's that much less water that we have to pump.
Most people living in Rotterdam are on the city's sewer system, and that's about 2,000 households. The problem probably won't get fixed until tomorrow night. Because of the weekend, workers are having a tough time getting the equipment and the parts that they need. It's been a working vacation for the Clintons, but today they got to spend most of their day in the Hamptons relaxing. This follows last night's big Democratic fundraiser in East Hampton, where President Clinton delivered a warm endorsement to his wife Hillary's all but declared Senate race. Meanwhile, their planned trip to Skinny Atlas may not be the getaway from it all vacation they'd been hoping for. Their closest neighbor will be J. Patrick Barrett. He's one of the state's most influential Republicans, and he's vowed to back any Republican who opposes Mrs. Clinton's potential run for Senate. A day after the Midsummer Classic, we have Classic Summer Day, or at least that's how it started. Meteorologist Chris Silveri has more on that. Chris?
Well, we started out with some sunshine, and then later on in the day we did see some of the clouds rolling in, and want to show you something. We have a picture of some of the clouds right now. Just give you a little taste of what you could be seeing outside right now. We have a little picture. Actually, I'm sorry, we're going to go right to the satellite picture. If you saw the clouds and the rays coming through earlier, they're called crepuscular. Remember that if you're on Jeopardy. But for us right now, you can see some satellite pictures of the clouds coming in our way right now. Hopefully, they will be dissipating as the cooler air is starting to move in right now, and we should see the clouds clearing out over the next couple of days. So if you're going to be going out for the rest of this evening, it looks like it's going to be a great evening. Temperatures will be falling back to the mid-60s by about 9 o'clock, and it will be mostly cloudy, though the clouds will be dissipating later on. I'll have the rest of your forecast and some more updates on Dennis when I come back in just a few minutes. Mary Beth?
Corpuscular. So noted. Thanks, Chris. Well, fall and harvest time are just around the corner, and that means it's time for Niskayuna's annual Carrot Festival. Held at Congregation Agudat Akim, purists could purchase plain carrots and then gild the lily a bit with carrot brownies or carrot cake. All the food was kosher and included other treats without carrots as well. Today's event was a little earlier than usual, so are they jumping the season?
When we conceived it, it was supposed to be a kind of fall harvest festival and something for our synagogue and a little bit for the community. But I always say this has become Niskayuna's own fall festival.
The event was started by the owners of the Carrot Barn in Schoharie Valley and was continued by the new owners when they took over.
Channel 6 News is everywhere. Coming up next.
A union of like-minded enthusiasts rev the engines and raise money for a good cause. And we'll climb into the Wayback Machine for a trip to the 18th century. That story coming up.
You're watching Mary Beth Wenger and Forecasts with Steve Hammonds. This is Channel 6 News at 6:30.
The Capital Region has no shortage of classic car lovers, and there are certainly plenty of motorcycle enthusiasts, but it isn't often that the two of them get together. The first annual Hogs and Rods Bike and Car Show was just such an occasion, bringing in classic wheels, 2 wheels, and 4 wheels to the Midway Fire Department in Colony. About 175 bikes and nearly 200 cars parked themselves for the event, a fundraiser put on by a number of local groups to benefit Albany's Ronald McDonald House.
Is somewhat unique as far as there's a lot of car shows in the area and there's a few bike shows, but there aren't very many combination bike and car shows. So we figured we'd be a little bit unique, and hopefully we could have a big draw and make a better donation to the Ronald McDonald House.
If the venture proves successful, organizers are hoping to make it a yearly happening. A drive through one Albany area today was a drive back in time, all the way back to the 18th century. The Ten Broeck Mansion turned back the clock to the 1700s for a celebration of life during colonial times. The reenactment featured military exercises, old school culinary feats, and games and activities for the kids. Organizers say Colonial Living History Day is a great chance to take a closer look at the Capital Region's past.
Well, I think it's important for us to present Albany's rich history dating back to the 18th century, and to celebrate our heritage kind of, I think is important for the association to do for the neighborhood and the community. I think doing interactive demonstrations, allowing children to come and play with some of the toys and the games and do some of the cooking is exciting for them.
Kids will be the focus of a new room in the museum starting this fall. The new Children's Interactive Room opens on September 17th. Strolling through High Rock Park in Saratoga was also an opportunity to do a little shopping today. With the strains of Gershwin's song Summertime in the background, those who attended Arts Fest 99 checked out all kinds of crafts, arts, jewelry, and entertainment. Well, forecasting the weather is a science, not an art, so that's why we brought in the very best. Meteorologist Chris Silveri is up next with tomorrow's outlook. Chris?
Well, I like to think that it's a little bit of both. It looks like the clouds we have right now will be dissipating overnight, and get ready for some cool temperatures coming in. I'll tell you how cold coming up in a few minutes.
Yesterday he dabbled in sports. Now he's an artiste when it comes to the forecast. Here's Chris.
Well, let me see if I can paint you a better picture of the weather coming up for the middle of the week. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about Dennis again because, again, it is threatening the southeastern coast. And we have some new numbers in for you right now. There is a hurricane warning for Little River Inlet, South Carolina to Oregon Inlet, North Carolina. And it looks like these warnings and watches are going to continue to be moving up the coast as the storm system continues to be making a turn now towards the north and maybe towards the northeast. And I'll show you that in a satellite picture in just a moment. But again, winds 105, exactly where they were yesterday, but the storm is speeding up, and that is something we were also expecting. So it looks like right now we have a fairly good handle on the storm, and again, right now, 195 miles south of Wilmington, North Carolina. On the satellite picture, you can see the eye very well developed and then starts to get a little bit ragged, but also you can see that it's going to the northwest, and then it starts making a turn towards the northeast. And what we're expecting right now is that it's going to brush the Outer Banks of Carolina with winds getting up to 50, maybe 60 miles an hour, and some heavier bands of rain moving in through the night. But it looks like right now the storm continues to pull to the northeast, and it'll parallel the coast for a while before it goes out to sea. For us right now, temperatures fairly nice, a little bit cooler than we thought they were. I'm sorry, here's the track again, and you can see again moving up towards the north and then maybe to the east as the front that we have giving us some cooler weather pushes it off into the Atlantic. 69 degrees, 57% humidity, and it was a little bit brisk with the winds early this afternoon in the early evening, about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Temperatures widely scattered, 77 in Schenectady, 69 in Albany. For the most part, temperatures will be falling over the next couple hours to the 50s and maybe some locations seeing some upper 40s as we go through the night. Here's what we have. The cooler air is just starting to make its way into New York, and you can just see Dennis starting to make its way up on the map. On the satellite picture, you can see we have just a little bit of clouds moving through our area, and they're starting to break up. And as they do, we'll see temperatures start to drop off later on tonight. On the radar, there was just a little bit of concern of maybe a spotty shower breaking out, but you can see that for the most part, we're going to stay dry tonight, although maybe a sprinkle in some of the Catskills, but right now I'm going to hold off on that. So here's how the forecast looks. The cool air continues to sink down on top of us. Tomorrow we see more in the way of sunshine. I thought we'd see a little bit more today. It looks like tomorrow we finally get it. In Dennis, again, a problem. It looks like it's going to continue to push to the north and the east. The winds on Tuesday go a little bit more northeast, so we could see some more cooler air come in, but the humidity might start to rise just a little bit. So your forecast as we start getting through the rest of this evening, we can see temperatures 47 to 52 brisk. We have the winds, they'll die down a little bit. Tomorrow 67 to 72. It'll be a little bit cooler than it was today. As we get towards tomorrow night, it gets great, 45 to 50. It will be chilly. Some locations might be falling into the mid to lower 40s in the northern part of the forecast area. And right now, again, you can see that we do have a warm up towards the middle of the week, but it stays dry and we could still use some rain. But right now, that's a good thing considering that we do have a massive tropical system sitting off the East Coast. But again, right now, it looks like that'll stay out to sea. Of course, if you need more information, you can get it at 476 WRGB, or if you like the internet like myself, www.wrgb.com. That'll be updated around 9:30 or so. And we're going to continue to track Dennis. Right now, it doesn't look to be a threat to us, but it looks like the cooler, drier weather will help keep that storm out to sea.
And not to jump too far ahead, but it looks like Labor Day is at least setting up what we know now. Look fairly
Don't hold
good.
me on that right now.
All right, we won't. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Chris. Well, she is Saratoga's sweetheart, and today she added one more LPGA victory to her repertoire. Donna is up next with Dottie's triumph in sports.
This segment of Channel 6 News is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts.
And now, sports with Donna Fendrick.
Well, she said she didn't feel her best when the LPGA's Oldsmobile Classic began, but it didn't take long for Dottie Pepper to start feeling like she was on her game. Entering the day, Dottie held a 5-shot lead on a 5-pack, and today she was like hot pepper entering the day. So today here on the 4th hole here to put her at 17 under par for the birdie, and nice shot for Dottie, and yes, she is happy with that. And then the approach on 7 coming up right here.
Very tiny green.
And this turns out to be another great shot by Dottie, and it sets up a birdie. She was at 18 under after that, but Kelly Keeney was breathing down Dottie's neck down the stretch. Here, Keeney with a great bird on 13, and that put her at 16 under, just a shot behind Dottie. But why not save your best for last? On 18, just a shot up on Keeney from the fringe for the long bird and the win, and she nails it. It's good. Dottie all fired up, and for good reason, a thrilling finish for Dottie Pepper. She beats Keeney by 2 shots to finish the tourney at 18 under par, and it's her 16th career victory, and a lot of fanfare for Dottie out there. Meanwhile, at the World Golf Championship NEC Invitational, Tiger did enough to win today. The PGA champ entered the day with a 5-shot lead. Birdie's the first hole there to lead by 6 shots, but then Tiger would falter a bit late. He would lead by just a stroke, and on 17, you saw him go up by 2 shots. The great Bird, Tiger wins the tourney by a shot over Phil Mickelson. He finished 10 under par. Now to the diamond. The Yankees have owned the Mariners. Today they were looking for their 8th straight victory over Seattle. So prior to the game, Lou Piniella figured nothing's worked. So why not pick his lineup out of a hat? Did it work? Well, first off, it's nice to see Don Zimmer back on the Yankees bench after a heart ailment flared up, and Zim does not miss a beat, and either have the Yanks. While the Mariners have hit 200 homers this year, the Bombers had a couple of their own, and they were big ones. What a difference Leday makes here. This over Griffey's head. In comes Bernie. In comes Leday for the inside the park home run. He's safe at the plate. The Yanks led 6-3, 3 hits, 3 RBI for Leday today. Then it's Bernie's turn. This good for 2 more Yankee runs. This in the 6th, and a trio of 3-run innings for the Bombers was good enough for the Yanks to beat the Mariners 11-5 for the 8th straight time. Andy Pettitte picked up his 12th win of the season. The Red Sox hosted the Angels today at Fenway, tied with Oakland for the AL wild card, and today completed a 3-game sweep. 5th inning, Darren Lewis brings in 2 with that hit. Sox led 3-1, and there's no hiding in baseball. Same inning as Brian Daubach with the RBI, scoring Jose Offerman. 4-1 Sox. Sox win 7-4. Pat Rapp was the winner. Red Sox have now won 5 of their last 6. So now the Sox lead the A's by a game in that AL wildcard race. After the A's, by the way, lost to the Sox in white 7-2 today. Tampa beat Cleveland 6-4. O's over the Tigers. Rangers beat Toronto, and the Twins over the Royals 6-2 that final. Well, the Mets and Diamondbacks play this evening at 8 o'clock, and after last night's 5-3 win, Arizona has beaten the Mets 6 of 8 meetings this year. Mets trail the Braves by 2.5 games in the division, but they lead the Reds by 3.5 games in the National League wild card race because the Reds lost today in Montreal 8-6 that final. Other finals in the National League this afternoon: Houston by 6 over Florida. Rockies complete a 3-game sweep and beat the Phils 6-5 at Coors Field. Well, the Diamond Dogs entered the day a half game, I should say, in front of Quebec atop the North Division. And today the Dogs brought out the brooms at Heritage Park looking for a weekend sweep of Waterbury. And yes, they made it look easy here. Kenny Craddock hits deep to center, and that's good for 2 big runs, and the Dogs led 9-1 in the 6th. Next batter, Ramon Melo with another RBI for Albany. And just like that, the Dogs were up by 9 runs. But they were not done yet. See, Marlon Roche here brings in another, and this puts the Dogs up 11-1. That scores Melo. The Dogs scored 6 times in the first, 4 times in the 6th, and in front of over 3,200 fans on Appreciation Day at Heritage Park, the Dogs give them something to appreciate. They win big time 11-2 to sweep the series and remain on top of the division. Well, it's opening weekend on the college football season, or should I say of the college football season, and today a rare Sunday afternoon affair. The Kickoff Classic at Giant Stadium matched 9th-ranked Ohio State and 12th-ranked Miami, and it was the Hurricanes striking first. James Jackson takes the handoff here and scoots not 10, not 20, but 44 yards for the first score of the ball game. Miami up 7-zip. Buckeyes went up 9-7 in the second quarter, but watch out. Here comes Kenny Kelly. He fakes and then takes it in himself. 2-point conversion was good. The Hurricanes led 15-9 and win 23-12. It is the first time since 1986 since Ohio State lost its opening game. Well, with all the Travers hoopla dying down a bit at Saratoga, today another full day of racing kept fans on their toes. The Saratoga Breeders' Cup was the feature race today at the track. Tom Durkin has the stretch call.
It's Running Stag driving on the lead. Golden Missile second. Cantianis on the outside third. Running Stag still there. Golden Missile, Cantianis, final try. Here's the line. The globe-trotting Running Stag does it again here at Saratoga. The winner today, Cantianis finishing fast second, and Golden Missile.
So, Running Stag returned $4 to win, $280 to place, $230 to show, the 7-3 exacta paid a whopping $14.40. And that's sports.
Not just running stag, but the globe-trotting running stag.
Exactly.
Gets around.
Go Dottie, by the way.
Absolutely. If that's her playing on a bad day, when she feels under the weather, imagine.
Actually, she's had a great tournament.
Yeah.
Didn't start off great, or didn't feel like she was playing great at the beginning. But what a great tourney! I just met her about 2 weeks ago, and she was great. Great to talk to, and a pleasure.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Dottie Pepper.
Ditto. Thanks, Donna. Well, coming up, it's been an unbearable summer in Southern California, but some fur coat wearing residents chilled out this weekend. We'll explain after this break. The heat was on in the Southwest this week, but 3 San Diego residents found a way to keep their cool. A trio of polar bears at SeaWorld frolicked in a half-ton of slush and 55-degree water in their posh luxury home. The Bruins also had the opportunity to play with a giant block of ice on a rope in their 90,000-gallon pool. But all that exercise was enough to whet their appetite, so the furry critters were also treated to a 100-pound snow cone filled with fruits, nuts, and berries. Sounds like a lot of echoes there, too. A lot of people listening to them to get no peace, those poor bears.
Well, they definitely won't need to keep cold as the next couple days come for us. A hint of fall coming through the beginning of the week.
And that's it for us. We thank you for joining us. 60 Minutes is up next, and we'll see you again at 11. Have a great night.